Welcome to Monday Minute. I'm Andy, and I'm here to talk to you today about our Federalism Month. I am a professor in history and political science. My PhD is in political science with a concentration in political philosophy, international relations, and American politics. I'm here to talk to you a little bit today about what we're up to this month at the Center for Constitutional Studies, and also a little bit about our groundbreaking Federalism Index project. In the next few minutes, I want to talk just a little bit about our vision at the center, why we're dedicating this month to the topic of American federalism, and also just to put on your radar a few things for the next 30 days. So let's start with the Center for Constitutional Studies. Founded in 2011, the CCS has now more than 20 employees and staff. The Center for Constitutional Studies is a nonpartisan academic center, which since its inception in 2011 has worked to promote the study of the U.S. Constitution and to enhance civic and constitutional literacy. Recent reports reflect a strong decline in constitutional literacy, but also civic knowledge in general. For example, in 2014, the Annenberg Public Policy Center at the University of Pennsylvania released a study that found that Americans had surprisingly low levels of constitutional literacy. While little more than a third of the respondents, or 36%, could name all three branches of the U.S. government, just as many, about 35%, could not name a single one. Just over a quarter of Americans, or 27%, know that it takes a 2/3 vote of the House and Senate to override a presidential veto. 1 in 5 Americans incorrectly thinks that a 5-4 Supreme Court decision is sent back to Congress for reconsideration. In another famous case in 2015, the American Council of Trustees and Alumni surveyed 1,000 college graduates and found that 10% of those with college degrees believe that Judge Judy is one of the 9 Supreme Court justices. In the next few weeks, we will be talking more about the problem with constitutional literacy and what we can do about it. For the next 30 days, we'll be focusing on federalism, how well our system of shared government is holding up under pressure. In the first week, we'll be going over some basics. What is federalism? What are the virtues of the American intergovernmental system? And how well is it holding up under pressure as states and local governments wrestle with life and death questions about when to reopen, how to manage risk, and how to coordinate with the federal government? Federalism in the American system is the idea that power is diffused throughout the system among the federal, state, and local governments. Powers not delegated to the federal government nor prohibited by it to the states are reserved to the states, respectively, or to the people. That's the 10th Amendment. Here is James Madison in the Federalist Papers, expanding on the meaning of the 10th Amendment. Quote, "The powers delegated by the proposed Constitution to the federal government are few and defined. Those which are to remain in the state governments are numerous and indefinite." So that's one working definition. But life in politics is messy. In practice, federalism is sometimes hard to apply and sometimes hard to understand. U.S. Supreme Court Justices Kennedy, Scalia, Thomas, and Alito recently warned in NFIB v. Sebelius in 2012, in a dissenting opinion, that we're in danger of losing our understanding of constitutional structure, which is an essential component of protecting individual freedom. They wrote that structural protections tend to be undervalued or even forgotten by our citizens. In their dissenting opinion, they concluded that the fragmentation of power produced by the structure of our government is actually central to liberty, and when we destroy it, we'd place liberty at peril. Over the next few months and weeks, we'll be looking more closely at this warning. Were the dissenting justices exaggerating the threat to constitutional order? Our research teams have been working for 3 years on this primary set of questions. Is our federal system healthy or sick? Is it acting optimally or is it breaking down? So as researchers, we approach this question empirically. What kind of indicators could we use to measure the health of the federal system? How could we know whether our system is in danger of breaking down? Over the next 30 days, we will be previewing the first results of our work and our new data visualization platform. But for now, I want to ask the question, why does all of this matter? So we've already looked at one reason why federalism matters, and that has to do with individual liberty. But we also think that federalism matters for civility. Here is the National Constitution Center President Jeffrey Rosen explaining how both left and right can benefit from strengthening constitutional federalism. He says, "In an era of fierce partisan divisions, all sides are beginning to see the virtues of our federal system in accommodating differences and encouraging experimentation on issues such as immigration, law enforcement, and education." Here's another way to look at it from Randy Barnett, Professor of Legal Theory and Director of Georgetown Center for the Constitution, Georgetown University Law Center. He says, "When any issue is moved to the national level, it creates a set of winners and a set of losers. Consequently, the more issues that are elevated to the national level, the more contentiousness, bitterness, and gridlock develops, as people fight ever harder not to lose. The result," Barnett concludes, "is a political version of what Thomas Hobbes called a war of all against all." So here's another way to think about it from scholar Heather Gerken from Yale. She says, "Today's federalism ensures that red and blue states are forced to interact. Over time, federalism forces politicians on both sides of the aisle to do what they're supposed to do: politic, find common ground, and negotiate a compromise that no one likes but everyone can tolerate." We've talked about constitutional literacy, and we're devoting the next 30 days at the Center for Constitutional Studies to the topic of federalism as we muddle through this public health crisis. Along the way, we'll be releasing previews of our new research platform called the Federalism Index Project. To learn more about the Federalism Index Project, the Center for Constitutional Studies, and to follow us for Federalism Month, we encourage you to visit us at uvu.edu/ccs. We'll see you next time.